Well, I don't know about you, but I've been getting lots of emails either telling me who to vote for or telling me who they're voting for and why I should also. Even Facebook profiles can be changed to announce who you're voting for. In fact, I saw a tweet this morning where somebody was asking the Electoral Commission whether it's okay to tell someone who you voted for, and apparently it is. So I thought I would get in on the scene and tell you who I'm voting for in this important general election. I've had a lot of people asking me just that question. So here we go. So I want to tell you who I'm voting for because everyone else seems to be, and I don't want to miss out. I mean, this is an important election. It's a real challenge working this through, isn't it? There are some larger parties who have individual candidates who do a grand job at representing the social conservative voice in Parliament. And there are also some new parties who also have superb policies, uplifting and strengthening families and the moral fabric of our society. National and ACT fall into that former category of having some individual MPs who are very good social conservatives, and there are also some new National MPs likely to get in this election that fit that description, so that's great. But while those parties in general are both fiscally conservative, they're not socially conservative from the top down, from the leadership down, and are unlikely to undo some of the social damage that's been done by the Labour government over the past 6 years with the help of the Greens, including that atrocious abortion law and the overreach of the so-called conversion therapy law. They're also unlikely to undo the radical sexuality and gender ideology being indoctrinated in schools, or promote marriage, or remove the wokeness of personal pronouns, the LGBT agenda, or critical theory in our workplaces and classrooms. They might struggle to stand up to the strong pro-drug agenda. Anybody who watched our Straight Talk interview with David Seymour will have seen the evidence of all of this, and the fact that they're targeting the seat of Tamaki because National MP Simon O'Connor is pro-life and anti-euthanasia says a lot about ACT. And what about New Zealand First? I mean, Winston is up there with a number of other MPs as one of the most socially conservative voters, except for his support for euthanasia. It also seems that a couple of MPs in his party weren't as socially conservative as he thought they were when they were last in Parliament. But can we forgive him for that decision in 2017 when he effectively made Jacinda Ardern our PM for those next 3 years? But we can't blame him for the last 3 years. New Zealanders voted her back in, and half of those voters now seem to be regretting it. And then there's a number of smaller, socially conservative parties who have great policies and some great candidates, but are struggling to get media coverage and oxygen in this election campaign, and are therefore struggling to get to the pass line of 5% under our MMP voting system. And there's no evidence that any of them are going to win an electorate seat, despite some optimism. Now, let me reiterate. Even though a vote for one of these parties doesn't receive representation in the final election outcome, some argue it's not a wasted vote, as they call it, as it still shows support for that party or a protest vote against other parties. It's a vote based on principle. It sends a message of support to the party and what the party represents or stands for. It's not wasted if your goal is to send a message to both the party and to the public in general that you support the principles and policies of that party, even if they don't get in this time. On the other hand, you may decide that you must vote in a way that ensures that we don't have another 3 years of the current government. I can relate to that. New Zealand is in deep need of a change of direction. The moral fabric of our country is taking a hammering. So do we vote on principle or strategically, or both principle and strategically? Sometimes previously I've had to vote on the basis of this party will do harm, but this party may do good. Sometimes I've had to vote for a party that isn't perfect, but it's better than the alternative, perhaps way better. So, after weighing up all those factors, I came to my decision, which I want to share with you. When I enter the polling booth on Saturday, because it's a ritual to do it on the actual day, when I enter the polling booth, I will be voting for So, there we have it. You may have been a little surprised by my decision. Of course, I hope that you'll take the time to pause and to pray and to seek wisdom as to who you should vote for. Voting according to your values is a privilege. We should use it. But now you know who I'm voting for.